Hello, my name is Richmond Davis. I am the Republican candidate for Congress from Maryland's 7th Congressional District. Today I'd like to talk to you about the subject of civility or incivility. That's a term we hear tossed around a lot. It sounds rather antiseptic. What we're really talking about is the presence of boorish, vulgar, and rude behavior which seems to permeate so much of this land. The best recent example I can think about, of course, are the hearings for Brett Kavanaugh and his nomination to the United States Supreme Court. That certainly was an outstanding example in terms of negativity of what incivility amounts to. Personally, I experienced it myself the other evening when I spoke to a neighborhood citizens group in Northeast Baltimore City. I was invited there. Now, please understand, if you're not aware, Baltimore City is a heavily Democratic area. The last Republican candidate for Congress in the 7th District garnered 3%. So it's hardly what we would call a hotbed of conservatism out there. But because the group extended an invitation to me, I did expect some politeness. Unfortunately, that was foolish on my part in terms of an expectation, because it certainly didn't come to pass. The first minute or so of my talk was fine. I complimented the group on its civic activities and how much I appreciated the example they were setting for the community in terms of their involvement in civic activities. Then I explained my background as a Republican and a believer in conservative values that you've heard from me before, of limited government, lower taxes, and a strong national defense. And I pointed out that Baltimore City was not in very good shape in terms of those factors. Certainly, I mentioned that there were problems with the crime rate, with the educational system. And who should be responsible for that? Certainly, Elijah Cummings deserved to share some of the responsibility and the blame. At that point, a lady stood up and started berating me. So I'm going to interrupt you because what you're saying about Elijah Cummings is totally uncalled for. Well, that of course is untrue. It was totally called for. But I said, may I finish? No. And she carried on. Unfortunately, as things turned out, the moderator beside me did not intervene. And so I had the choice to get in a shouting match with this lady or let her go on, and I chose the latter course. And her final comment to me was, I'm not going to sit here and listen to this diatribe against Elijah Cummings, which, matter of fact, I had barely had the chance to begin. She then left the room, and at that point, the moderator said, you said some things about Baltimore City which we don't appreciate. I've lived in this city for decades, and I love Baltimore. And you're not welcome here any longer. Your talk is over now. At that, I paused and I said, I've tried to display respect for this group, and I wanted to talk about substantive matters. Yes, she displayed respect. You're not welcome. And so I left. That really was a shame. But unfortunately, that's so typical of what we face this day and age. And when people take that attitude, and it seems to be coming predominantly from the left, there really is very little reason to have discourse with people like that. And that's really more than just a shame. That's a foreboding for which I don't think any of us should appreciate or welcome, because we as Americans need to get together. But there's some very unfortunate things happen in this country that disturb me greatly. If you have found this presentation of interest, I hope you'll consider subscribing to this channel. Thank you.